What's going on, family? New day, new beginnings. Before we get started, hit that like and share button and subscribe to Truthtrtube. As you can see by the title of the video, Senate Bill 1718, Immigration Law. Disclaimer: I could care less about both political parties. I'm not a fan of Ron DeSantis based on what he's doing in Florida in regards to critical race theory. But this bill does make sense, and I'm always for anything that makes sense, especially when it's made with common sense, because like I said, common sense is lacking in this area. I read an article this week by NPR in regards to the old immigration bill. It goes into effect July 1st of this year, but I know a lot of people have issues with it, right? Let me read this to you. It's from npr.org, and I will be posting it in the description. Pressure is growing for a boycott of Florida, including Latino truck drivers who vow to stop deliveries across the state and calls for an immigrant labor strike on June 1st. Businesses are pledging to shutter their doors for the day to protest Governor Ron DeSantis' sweeping new immigration law. All right, let me just pin that down real quick. Basically, these businesses want to continue employing these undocumented immigrants so they could pay them low wages. This is all about low wages. That's basically it, So let me continue. Among its provisions, the strict new state legislation limits social services for undocumented immigrants, correct? Allocates million more tax dollars to expand DeSantis' migrant relocation program. Invalidate driver's licenses issued to undocumented people by other states, I agree. And requires hospitals that get Medicaid dollars to ask for a patient immigration status, which I agree, because those are our benefits. Our benefits shouldn't be going to anyone undocumented. But most worrisome measures for businesses and undocumented immigrants alike are the host of penalties for those who violate new employment mandates, which is correct. If you're housing or you're employing, you should be penalized, point blank. Supporters say it will help expel the recent influx of immigrants, stave off future arrivals, and provide more job opportunities to citizens and others in the country lawfully, which is correct. Here's a look at key provisions of the law and how they may impact the state's economy. E-Verify requirements. Basically simple to crack down on businesses hiring undocumented workers. SB 1718 will require private employers with 25 or more employees that are making new hires to use E-Verify, the federal online database that employers use to confirm whether someone is eligible to work in the United States. Correct. Hold the fire to their ass. 2. What the potential impacts are. Businesses advocate across the state are concerned. That's a big problem for Florida, where there's already a widespread labor shortage and the unemployment rate is low, just 2.6% in April, which is correct. There's no shortage. You're not hiring those you should be hiring. Point blank. There's been a wave of videos on social media showing images of vacant construction sites and fruit and vegetable fields where harvests remain unpicked and are rotten. According to the video's narrators, the job sites have been abandoned by people who fear the new bill's E-Verify requirements. Nah, that's all BS. That's all cap. If they want to get people to work in those fields and work on construction sites, there's a lot of people out there looking for work. You just don't want to hire them because you can't take advantage of them financially and wage-wise. Enforcing the hiring rule, what the law says. Florida's Department of Economic Opportunity will be responsible for enforcing the E-Verifying requirement, and DeSantis had touted new harsh penalties for employees who violated. Good. Penalize their ass. A graphic on the governor's website states that employees who fail to use E-Verify would be fined $1,000 a day. Good. For workers, it would be a felony to use a false ID to get a job. Good. If you're undocumented, go back to where you came from. I'm tired of this. I'm tired for the American citizens, mostly black people, because that's the main objective, is to replace black people. What the potential impacts are. But a closer look at the legislation clarifies that these penalties apply only after an employer fails to use the database 3 or more times within 2 years. In those instances, the DEO can also suspend applicable businesses licenses until the employer provides proof of compliance. Good. Suspend their shit. If people are uncomfortable, I think change will come. Redefining human smuggling. Oh, this is another one. What the law says. Under the new law, a person who transports into Florida someone they know or should have known is an immigrant who has not been inspected by authorities could be charged with a felony for human smuggling. Oh man, it gets a little dicey there. I approve that also. A person who is found transporting fewer than 5 immigrants on their first offense could be charged with a third-degree felony. They can be sentenced to up to 5 years in prison per person or pay a fine of $5,000 per count. Geez, what the potential impacts are. This provision was among the most hotly contested and will likely face strong legal challenges because it's so poorly written. Attorney Evelyn Wise told, whatever, NPR. Basically, this pushback against this bill because it's holding people accountable. It's holding those accountable because those who are not accountable is breaking the law. So if you're undocumented, you get screwed. Your employer employing, if your employer employing in undocumented immigrants, you get fined heavily. So everything I agree with. There's some things that's a little dicey, but I agree with it. You know why? Because this is not how it's supposed to be. You know, every business owner want to save a buck, which is understandable. But when you're doing it to undermine those who live on this soil, those who are citizens, and those who are lawfully, legally abided to be in America, is unfair to us. You know, like I said in the beginning, to clarify, I don't like Ron DeSantis, but I do support this bill because the bill has things in there that could get a lot, that could get this migrant situation under control. Family, hit that like and share button and subscribe to Truth TR2. Thank you.